Hi, my name is Christian Welborn, and I will be here talking to you about the personality and characteristics of both presidential candidates, Trump and Biden. Leadership is the number one thing we have to look at regarding candidates for governing positions. The particular characteristics of any candidate will dictate what type of leader they are or will be. When voting, while it's important to look at the candidate's views on certain subjects and issues, you also want to look at them in a more broad way, being what their personality is like. This topic is important to me because I personally would rather vote for a candidate who I like as a person rather than vote for a candidate only because of what they promise to do or what their agenda is. A leader's characteristics will dictate how they'll lead their people. And this is important to remember because your vote is going to help determine who leads the country in the next 4 years, for the next 4 years. Now, if we start looking at Trump, one of his most defining characteristics is how bold he is. He holds high levels of self-confidence and also shows feelings of entitlement. Being bold could be a good trait, but it depends on how the candidate utilizes it. Trump, on the other hand, ignores critics, largely due to his self-confidence. He may be hard to work with and is also known to intimidate others. Being bold isn't always a good characteristic, but again, it largely depends on how you utilize it. Trump is also an extrovert. One doesn't really hear of him keeping to himself. In fact, one can easily observe that he likes being the center of attention. This is both good and bad because having an extroverted president is good, as they're not afraid to be a center of attention. In fact, they're used to it, but it can be bad too, as they may let all the attention get to them. Trump is also not very friendly, at least that's not how he initially seems. While Trump does in fact love and value his family, and he has also been described as being a good boss, there still have been times where he has been observed as being arrogant or non-empathetic. You want a president who is warm and friendly, but regardless, there will be times where they may have to shed this trait in order to make something happen. He can also be seen as narcissistic. He seems to value his image over other matters. Not only that, but he doesn't respond well to criticism, like I said before, as he is known to attack critics. It's usually his belief that there's no wrong in his part, but the wrong is a result of someone or something else. Lastly, he has a dominant personality. Trump enjoys directing and leading others, and when it comes to that, he's tough and doesn't let his feelings get in the way. This type of personality has been described as being effective when it comes to leadership, which suits him well as he is the president and they're supposed to lead us. Now, if one looks at Biden, on the other hand, in general, he's friendly. He's a down-to-earth guy that just feels familiar to everyone. He's like the person you can go to and talk for any issue. This is a good trait for a presidential candidate because it helps to get people to trust you and vote for you. They want a candidate that is more on a personal level. He wants to seem like a friend or ally to his supporters and potential supporters. Not to mention that he's also both empathetic and understanding. Biden seems to value teamwork when it comes to leadership. He doesn't tend to be dominant, rather he values working with others to lead a group of people. This is both good and bad. It's good that he's willing to work with others for the greater good, but this also means he may be pressured by others into doing things that aren't exactly great contributions to the well-being of the country. Another trait of Biden's is he likes to hear himself talk. Biden seems to enjoy talking more than thinking, which will lead to talking before thinking. This is generally a way of dealing with and avoiding complex matters, and when he does talk, his words may lack sufficient details. This definitely isn't something you want to see in a potential president, as you want a president who has high cognitive skills and is able to discuss complex matters with good details and higher levels of thinking. Biden can also be overly cooperative. When it comes to certain issues, Biden may tend to be more yielding rather than asserting himself. This basically means he gives into pressure easier. This isn't exactly a good trait for a presidential candidate. You do want a president who is cooperative, but being overly cooperative is a fine line that one can quickly approach, which may later lead to matters being taken out of the president's hands more or less. You want a president who will stand their ground. He also tends to be more passive. When it comes to difficult or troubling events, Biden may tend to undermine how truly troubling the event or issue is by more so looking on the bright side of the event. This may take away from the severity of an event or issue, but it doesn't necessarily lead to a solution quickly either. Overall, in conclusion, I choose not to endorse either candidates because I personally believe that their negative traits outweigh their positive traits. Both opponents have key qualities I like to see in a leader, but in general, I prefer a leader who is extroverted, dominant, while also listening to others, and a president that also maintains their own mindset. A leader who has a combination of both Trump and Biden's good qualities is an ideal leader to me.